Hey guys, and welcome back to your One Room Schoolhouse. If you are new here, my name is Mary Barfield, and I'm a homeschooling mama to a first grader and a third grader. And today's video is going to be a January homeschool update for y'all. We had just gotten done with our December Christmas break, and we're getting back into the swing of things for school. We definitely learned some things, I think, through our December break this year. We decided that we are no longer going to take a 3-week break at December moving forward. For Christmas. Instead, we're just going to do 2 weeks. But this is the difference. For those 3 weeks that we took off this past December, we were still doing like Harry Potter unit study. We were doing some like random math stuff. It was like we never really took off, but it's like it felt like we didn't get a break, but we supposedly took a 3-week break. So we have decided that it probably makes more sense moving forward to actually take a break. Stop curriculum for 2 full weeks rather than trying to do 3 weeks, but then we felt like we needed to do some things and all that goodness. So moving forward, that is going to be the change that we make, as well as we are no longer doing any kind of unit studies in December. We're going to save any kind of like big unit studies that we want to focus on while not doing any other curriculum during summertime, because we came back to school. It was a little rough. We came back a little bit more like the girls felt like they kind of still had some free reign going on. It was hard to reel them in. Part of that is I think because we never gave them a clear break, you know what I mean? But also because we were kind of doing loosey-goosey school for about 3 weeks. So I think they thought that it was just going to continue into January. So that's where we had that realization, okay, moving forward, we cannot do this. We have to say, all right, we're done with school, no more. Be free, have your break. Okay, we're back to school. We are back in action. You know what I mean? That also made us realize that we really needed to focus on harnessing the habit of attention. If you are in the Charlotte Mason School type circles at all, you probably hear about attention all the time. But Charlotte Mason or not, kids need to learn how to pay attention. And I think it is getting harder in this day and age with electronics and technology, making all of our attention spans, not just kids, ours too, a lot shorter. So speaking of technology, we actually decided to do no TV for January. And my husband are like, is this gonna be the worst idea we've ever had or the best? It turned out to be the best. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. And I'm not just saying that to like toot our own horn, but y'all, the first 3 days were rough. They were feral. They were begging for TV. They were making messes everywhere. They were constantly asking us what to do next. And then the 4th day, something clicked and they realized that they could be kids again and go play. And all of a sudden I was like, Cameron, why is it so quiet? It was in the afternoon after we had finished lessons. He's like, oh my God, go check on the kids. So I run upstairs. They're quietly playing Barbies using their imagination and coming up with these crazy, like fun, adventures and things like that. And I was just like, oh, we're back to normal, thank goodness. So it's not to say we didn't watch any TV, because after we got them detoxed, I guess is the best way to explain it, from TV, we recognize that every once in a while it's fun to bring in a very intentional movie night and do a family movie night, which was more special because they hadn't just watched 3 hours of TV that afternoon and then had dinner and then went into a movie. It didn't seem like the lines were blurring. It was a very distinct, we're having a fun movie night. Make the popcorn, get some chocolate, let's have some fun. And so the girls even admitted that I was asking them about it this week. They literally said, I kind of like not doing TV like that anymore. And I was like, right? It's a lot more fun. Their attitudes were so much better. They were sleeping better. Their focus is better. Y'all, they don't bicker as much. I mean, they still bicker. They're siblings. They're going to bicker, but not like they were before. It was kind of coming cats and dogs at a certain point. So TV, now that we're moving into February, because the month of January is now going to be over, is going to still be gone, but it's not gone. We can do family movie nights. My husband, of course, loves to watch his sports, and the girls love to watch. We're in the Carolinas, so the Canes are our hockey team, and my girls love watching the Canes with my husband. So I don't really count that in the TV watching realm because it's an intentional, focused activity. Whereas before they were just like, we have streaming everything, we have access to everything. Let's just watch whatever we want and click over from one thing to the other. Whereas like when we grow up, or at least when I grew up, I don't know about you who's watching, but when I grew up, I had to, if I turned the TV on, I was stuck with what was on the TV. I had to watch it or I had to like go outside and play. I had no choices. I didn't have streaming content. So I think taking that away really helped, because all of a sudden their attention span is so much better. Their focus is so much better in school. So that was a really high risk, high reward choice we made to do this past month, and we are going to continue it moving forward. So before we get into curriculum, one other thing I was going to mention is that during this month, because we were kind of taking things a little slower, I had a lot more time to really hunker down and focus and plan for next school year. And I am so excited to share with you guys. It's going to be in about 2 weeks, I think, thinking about my scheduling posting time. About in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks actually, you will be getting a sneak peek at my potentials, but like roughly what I think I'm going to do next year for history and science. I'm not going to do individual subjects, honestly, until we do our curriculum picks official videos, which will probably be April, May timeframe, because I want to see how things shake out for the rest of the school year. Really, I mean, I have an idea of what I'm going to be doing, but I want to see how things continue. I don't want to release those too soon because they might change. But I will be chatting with you guys in about a week and a half, roughly, in a video all about an update for our planning for next year for history and science. So stay tuned for that. I'm really pumped to share with you guys what I'm thinking about. So I think it's going to be a good move. All right, so let's get into curriculum, how it went this month. I'm going to kick it off with my youngest daughter, Charlotte. She is a first grader. So big updates for her are very exciting in the reading department, y'all. Oh my goodness, this girl is taking off in her reading. So she has been working her way through the Good and the Beautiful booster cards. So she has completed A, B, and now she has completed half of booster card C. And this is the final book that the Good and the Beautiful has in their phonics program. And that means she also finished Wesley and the Wolves. If you're not familiar with the Good and the Beautiful, their booster cards come with readers that accompany the phonics. I actually think these are freaking fantastic, y'all. And I say that also because they work so well for my kids. But here's like a list of the chapters and what phonics we're working on reinforcing with the reading. And then also at the beginning of the chapters, they always have stuff like challenge words that might not follow the phonetical reading rule that we're learning about. But what my girls love is that I read and then they read. It's partnership reading. So here's my part, there's the child's part. They also really love the little sketches, but also she really liked the story. She gave it, I asked her, I was like, out of 10, what would you rate this story? And she said 1,000. She goes, no, 10,000. I was like, do you like it that much? And to be fair, she did. After we finished it, I read the last bit of the chapter and I closed the book and she goes, no. She literally yelled, no. But I told her, don't worry. And her sister said the same thing because her sister did these as well, her oldest. She said, you're gonna love Molly and the Falcon. So that is the second reader that accompanies the Booster C cards. So she's halfway through. So the second half is now going to be reading this book. However, she is not reading a chapter out of this book every day based on, how quickly she moves and masters the booster cards. So what we're doing for additional reading practice to kind of pad, I guess, the Good and the Beautiful readers, is we are still working our way through the Book Shark level 2 readers. And so she is now on the Hill of Fire, which she is actually really loving. She is zooming through this one. And I didn't know if she would. I think it's about a volcano actually, but she's really liking it. And for the most part, she has loved every single reader we have done from Book Shark. I'll give a major update at the end of the school year about the readers and which ones we liked and which ones we didn't like. But she has loved all of level 1. She's read all of those this year, and now she's working her way through level 2. I think there's only one of these readers that she DNR'd, and she's like, Mom, I can't do it. I don't like this one. And considering how well she is reading and how many readers we have accessible to us, I was like, we can scrap the reader. It's okay. Because if I don't want the content to be what stops her from practicing her reading. So I was like, let's move on to the next reader. So right now we're working our way through Hill of Fire. That's been awesome. Something else I wanted to note about Charlie. So she is a younger first grader. She was born like 3 days later. She'd be in kindergarten per my state rules. But so I say that to let you know that she is a young sixth grader in first grade. There's something that happened, I swear, over December break, where her oral narrations went from kind of, they weren't bad. They were just, the guy had a pony that he really liked. You know, it was like very like basic to, she is now giving multi-sentence narrations, oral narrations after readings for history, science, all that stuff. We do oral narrations after every reading that's a scheduled reading. And she went from like, the guy likes his pony to, I mean, she's giving me a story back. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these are great. So I think there was a mental leap or something clicked. So if you are doing oral narrations with your kids, because you're in the younger years, not in the written narration phase yet, and you're just like, what is this? My kid does not give me narrations back. Keep asking, stay consistent, because that's what I did with Charlie, and I did it with Emery too, starting last year or the year before. We started the year before. And I'm telling you, if you stay consistent with it and just, you know, it will happen. The click will happen. And then all of a sudden you'll start getting these long, beautiful, verbose, you know, lots of vocabulary words used narrations, because it has now happened for Charlie, and I'm so excited for her. Two other things I wanted to mention are in the realm of her logic. It's what I call logic, but it's basically like mind puzzles, things like that. So she finished up her level 1 mind benders from the Critical Thinking Company. She loves these. These I don't schedule. I don't schedule any logic. I have it on her checklist for the day so that when she finishes up all of her independent work, if she wants to, she can then do a mind bender puzzle if she wants to. But she did finish up level 1, and now level 1, and she's working through level 2. I go ahead and purchase the PDF versions of these. It's the same price as the physical. I purchase it from their website, the Critical Thinking Company. I do that because I have 2 students, so I just print off when, you know, we're ready for the second one, you know what I mean? But I added in another option for logic per actually the recommendation of Nicole from the Mindful Homeschooler. She was telling me her daughter Emma loves these, and I've added them in for both girls, and they're loving them. It is from Scholastic. They are daily word ladders. So I like that they're logic, but it's also really focusing on spelling, on phonetics. This is going really well. So I have her in the grade 1 to 2 level. I imagine since we just started this, it's a pretty thick book. This will work its way into next school year as well, but the girls both are really loving these. So these have been a really nice addition for logic. So basically when I put logic on there, they can do one, both, the other, doesn't matter, or they don't have to do one at all if we're like running out of time. But it's not like a scheduled curriculum thing, but they find them fun, so they just do them whenever they want to, basically. So that's it for Charlotte. Those are the major updates from January. Let's hop in to Emery, who's my 3rd grader, and let's talk about some updates for her for January. Okay, so talking about Emery specifically with reading first, a big update for her is that we have decided to pause the Book Shark Language Arts Level 3 readers for her. She read the first, oh gosh, how many was it? 5 or 6 in the level, and she enjoyed them, but then she started hitting a wall with the next couple of readers, and I finally was like, hey, let's pause here. It wasn't a reading competency issue or a fluency issue. She's capable of reading them. They're at her level or below, but she just was like, Mom, these are really boring stories. And my daughter, if you know her, she loves everything academia. Like, she is my academic kid. She's also a bit of a people pleaser, and she'll say yes to everything. But so when she pushes back on something, it's probably good to take note of it, if you know what I mean. So I said, it's okay, babe. These are not required reading. It's just on your level, good reading practice we can do daily. So if you're not really enjoying the stories, why don't we pause? There's a few that I want her to read and she wants to read, but we decided to kind of take a pause on them real quick because we brought in some other things. So for example, we had her read Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales. She had read a few out of here already, but there were a few more that she needed to finish. So we went ahead and finished those, and she really enjoyed them. I think this is a lovely addition. And on the back of it, They have one for Grimm's Fairy Tales. I'm not sure if you guys can even see that. That's probably super small. But it's the same company, Florist Books, and they do a Grimm's Fairy Tale version. And she actually asked if we could get that version. So I'm probably maybe going to get it for like Easter or something for her. We'll see. So that she can use that as another reader to read. But then once we were done with that, I had printed this off in the summer for summer reading, but we never got to it. It's Timothy of the 10th Floor. It's one of the Good and the Beautiful Language Arts Level 3 readers. It's the first one you read in the book if you're doing the language arts program. And I had printed it off during the summer for her to read for her summer reading program, but I kind of didn't realize, or I didn't really think about this, I guess, when I did that it is actually not just a reader. It has a phonics program built into each chapter. You go over phonics rules and words and stuff before you start the chapter. Also, actually, let me leave it like this. It's a partnership read. So the student reads and then the parent reads. And then, by the way, I just want to share, like, there's really beautiful illustrations in here. It's really good. That didn't work for her summer reading challenge because it was meant to be truly like she's reading it on her own, what we're doing, and I just didn't really sit down with her during the summer to do this. So this had been sitting on the bookshelf, and she pulled it off. She goes, "Mom, can I read this next instead of going back to the Book Shark readers?" And I was like, actually, yeah, that's perfect because we can do it for school. I can sit with you and I can read it with you, and this can be your 15 minutes of reading that you do. She blasted through this. She just loves reading with me, but 2, she loved the story, y'all. Absolutely loved it. So when this was over, she said, "Mom," because on the back of it, it shows you, hold on, let me show you this. On the last page, it says, "Want to continue the story, go get the Badger Hill Farm series books that they've done," because this was such a big hit with so many kids, because this is just part of the language arts program, that Jenny Phillips and her team decided to make a whole series based off of Timothy and Zoe, his cousin. And so it's called the Badger Hill Farm series. Well, last summer, I went ahead and got the free book that the Good and Beautiful does, this whole summer reading program. I got the free book for her level, which is level 3, and they sent you The Secret Door, which is the first book in the 6-book series. So I had this already. And she said, "Mommy, can I read the first book in the series?" I said, "Sure," but she's blasting through that also. I was like, "Girl, you gotta slow down." And so I basically told her, I was like, "If you like this," which she's already told me yes, I will go ahead in the March sale that the Good and the Beautiful normally puts on. Hopefully they're putting it on this year. I assume they will. I said, I will go ahead and get the rest of the books in the series, but I want to wait for the sale because we're so close to it. And I think last year we got 15% off. So I told her, I was like, "But if you finish this before that," which she absolutely will. She could finish this in a week if she wanted to. I'm the one who's holding her back. I was like, "Let's slow down. Let's read a little bit at a time." I am going to go ahead and get the series for her, but she's going to finish this when we're done. So I'm trying to figure out if I want her to read maybe I can pull those books from Book Shark Reader that I did like from the level 3 and she liked that she wanted to do. They were just later on in the year. Maybe I'll pull those out for her to read to tide her over until March, April, when we'll get the delivery from the Good and the Beautiful with the rest of the series. But y'all, if you're not sure if your kid will like it, print this off. It's free. It's part of their language arts program, so it is free in a PDF form on your computer. Print this off. See if your kid likes it. If they do, go get them the series. She just loves it. And it's really sweet. But so we're going to keep on with that series once we get that in March. But in the meantime, I'll go back to the Book Shark readers. I also had some books just in the house that I wanted her to read. So we'll kind of go through those until we can tide ourselves over until those readers arrive. But needless to say, her reading is not only taking off, but her interest in reading is excessive and exciting. So she's a very voracious reader, and it's very fun to see and witness. Speaking of math now, my 3rd grader has officially finished Math with Confidence 3rd grade Part A. And I just printed her off, fresh off the press, Part B. So we are now officially into the second half of our 3rd grade math year. And considering we started this a month and a half late into the school year, I'm pretty excited where we are. We're going to finish this before the end of the school year, which is nice. So the first half of this book really, they really get your number sense around multiplication facts down pat. It is so good. My girl's sense of numbers is the concepts and the conceptual and the mental math is so good, y'all. But I did recognize that speed, fluency, math fact fluency is important as well. So now that we've gotten the concept behind why 3 times 5 is 15, I need her to have her facts down quick and memorized. And so we are doing some rote memorization. It's okay. It has its place in homeschool, y'all. It's okay. So what I did was I went ahead. Okay, I've got an index card holder here. Whatever, I don't know what you call it. Yeah, index card holder. And I went ahead and printed off from The Good and the Beautiful, because they have this for free on their website. A set. It's a 4 set flashcards of the multiplication facts. And so every day before a math lesson, we do a 2-minute warm-up, truly. And we just go through, I'm working through set A with her right now. There's set B, set C, and set D. They're all in here. And what I like is that they are, here, I'll show them to you guys. They're color coded. So B is purple, so you can't mix them up too terribly. C is blue, and they get harder. But also what I like is that they don't start with the 1s, the 2s, the 3s. They mix up their facts, which makes it harder, and the kid has to really work to learn their facts better, which I appreciate. But you'll notice like all the 12, which I didn't know that people went up to 12 for math facts, are in set D. So like these are the harder ones. So we're doing that for 2 minutes warm up, like here, here, here. And if she has mastered them, I have little envelopes behind each set in here, and I put them in here. So mastered facts, and then I put it in here. And when I mean she's mastered them, I pull it up and it's like 5 times 5 is 25. She like says it, fact, it's out. She's not thinking, she's saying, you know? So it's muscle memory at that point. So we're adding that in to our math repertoire, and that is working out perfectly for her. Next, I wanted to talk about something new that we had introduced at the beginning of the year. It's the Modern Speller, Book 1. And so this is kind of a la time frame of the McGuffey readers. It is an older book that has had the copyright expire on it, and it is meant for specifically copywork and dictation for spelling purposes. It's quotes from famous people throughout history or books or things like that. So it's really rich literature, but it's also very interesting and can kind of lead to some rabbit trail researching to understand, you know, who was Matthias Barr, like why did he say this quote? You know, it's kind of very interesting in that respect. We are not using it completely as we should. You are meant to take the passage and do copywork one day and then do dictation the next. We are not dictating this long of sentences yet. It's not that my daughter isn't doing dictation. I know in Charlotte Mason circles, they say you should wait for dictation until 4th grade, but she is capable of shorter sentence dictation. We're not doing this quite yet. You'll also notice that they pull out words to the left and they'll show you how the syllables break it up and such like that. But any words that might be tough spelling words for this level. So we're doing 3rd grade, second half of the year. But right now we are just doing it without the dictation. She's just truly doing copy work from this 4 times a week. And I am really pleased with that. She has her own little notebook that I created. I actually think I have this one in my Etsy shop. I'll link that down below with a few other covers if you want to look at it. But here, I'll show you an example of she's so funny. So in here I have a space for writing or drawing and then writing. She said she still wants the drawing part. She loves art. She loves to draw little random things. So here she's just written it down here, and then if she has time, I'm like, if you want to draw a narration for the copy work, that's totally fine also. So, and then this day she decided that she did not want to draw, and she just copied the copy work, and then I check it afterwards. So that's part of her independent work, and it's going great. She is loving it, and I think she likes that she can do it independently. One other thing I was going to mention is that just like my youngest daughter, we did add in word ladders for her as part of her logic. She is doing the level grade 2 to 3, and she is really liking it. Again, it's really perfect for phonics, for logic, for spelling, all of that. And both the girls are really liking it as a logic option. On top of that, she has not completed level 3, but she is literally like 3 like problems away from that. This is grade level 3 through 6. They start to get tough. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. But when she is done with this one, I will go ahead and purchase the PDF for level 4, and then I'll print those out for her, and that'll be continue just to be accessible to her every day for independent work, for her logic work. All right, y'all, let's talk about group subjects. Something new that I have added to our morning routine, which is what I call like our morning kickoff. It's when we do our calendar and our poetry before we do core subjects. We're not doing full morning basket, but it's just like we get together, talk about the weather outside, do our calendar, read our poem, and then we go into core subjects. Something I've added, which I thought would help with the habit of attention and mindfulness, was we are now doing 5-minute meditation in the morning, because it really helps kind of center us and focus after breakfast. My oldest daughter is a pro at it. She loves doing yoga with me. She meditates like in her own way. My youngest daughter, who is my beautiful ball of energy and light and just can't stop moving, she hates it. And it's fine. But I told her, I was like, this will be a really good exercise for you to exercise restraint and willpower and control over your body. And the first week was like really like pulling nails with her. By the second or third week, she actually kind of started to like lean into it, sit still, close her eyes, and follow the meditation. And I'm not saying she's perfect, but she is like 90% better. So we're going to continue doing that, because I actually think it's really helpful for my youngest daughter specifically to kind of center her and like let her focus before we move into the core subjects. After that, another thing that we added at the beginning of this year is this big monthly planner. Both my girls have one. I put their names on it with using my Cricut. But what we are doing with this is our nature study, because this is about all I can commit to for some reason for nature. Nature is just one of those that eludes me for some reason. Nature study. I love nature. I love going on nature hikes. We go out all the time. We go to our nature parks and we learn about nature things from our park rangers. But I, for some reason, just can't figure out how to nail down a nature study, except this is working, y'all. So I bought, it's a 2-pack of these, and they're blank monthly planners. This is the big size. They have like a smaller 5x8 size if you want. I'll link it down below if you want to check it out. But they have these huge with big squares monthly layouts. And so what we did is we wrote January 2026, and we every day go over, okay, what day is it? They write the number in the top corner, then they write the high and low temperature, the sunset and sunrise, and then they draw the weather. And so this has been really helpful for nature observation from a weather perspective, but also seeing patterns. They have noticed that our day is getting longer because our sunrise is getting earlier and our sunset is getting later. On top of that, this little extra column you have here, we're using it as a firsts. We'll write down the first time anything happens. Like we had our first frost this week of this 2026 year. We had our first rain. They saw their first bird. We had our first, well, it was more like ice storm. Yeah, ice storm, not snow, because we live in North Carolina, so you never know what you're gonna get. But this is working so well, and we're just gonna keep on keeping on. So we will start February, because I'm filming this literally the last day of January. We'll start February on this layout. I'm not sure if we will do the weather every day or every month. I know for 1 month, I definitely want to do the phases of the moon and have them draw the phases of the moon to see how it changes over time. Like, how cool would that be? I think we're going to do trees. Like, I think I want to do a seasonal tree drawing, but I might wait for that for next year to implement. But like, there's just so much we can do with this, but just, I think it's really helpful from a nature perspective, but also for my youngest, it has really helped with calendar skills and really locking those down. Because I remember first grade is when I was still working with my oldest on that. And by the end of first grade, her calendar skills were great. I haven't been doing that with my youngest, so we're bringing this in to help her out as well. So both of them have one of their own and they're loving it. So then after that, we read our poem from Ambleside Online's Poetry Anthology Volume 1. My girls and I love these poems. For $10, this is thebomb.com, y'all. But from that, my youngest does a daily copy work. So my oldest is doing her copy work from the Modern Speller. My youngest is doing it from our poetry every day. So I was gonna share with y'all like her last one that she did here. So like this, I don't know if this is on par with other first graders or not, but this is a huge improvement from where she was at the beginning of the year. So she has a space she can draw, but then she So I write it up here and then she writes it underneath, and she still has the wide lines because she's in first grade. But to give you some context, this was the beginning of the year. Like, we were just doing words. She couldn't even do copy work at that point. So I think she has made tremendous improvement, and I am very proud of her work thus far. Okay, next, let's talk about history. So we just finished up Kirsten's unit. Keep an eye out. That'll be the next video that I post after this one, where I'm doing a review on Kirsten's unit. The girls loved it. So much so that my oldest said that Felicity was her favorite before this, but now Miss Kirsten, the immigrant from Sweden to Minnesota, has now become her second favorite. Well, she said she wants everybody to know they are both her favorites equally. So she's really enjoyed them. This was a really good unit, learning all about immigration and what that looked like in the mid-1800s, life on the prairies. We learned about Native American tribes at that point as well and what was going on with them. So it was a really, really good unit. I am sad to see it go, but I'm also very excited to pop into Addie next. So that'll be our next American Girl. We are going to be learning about the Civil War. There are going to be some tough topics in here. I understand the first book is pretty... is probably gonna be the toughest one for the girls to get through, because Addie is a slave at that point and they are escaping and there's some abuse. So we will be prepared to handle it, but I think it's really important to talk about. We have already talked about human slavery already in the context of America as well as the world. So my girls are aware that slavery did and still does exist to this day. But it's still going to be, I think, a tougher one, especially because you're talking about a child that is your age that you can kind of relate to more. So, but I think it'll be a really good unit. Besides history, what else? What have we got? Oh, Spanish. Y'all, my homeschool languages, I love it. So we are still working our way through homeschool languages level 1. We are currently on lesson 32. So we're in unit 2. We are not going to finish this by the end of the year. Just being straight up, y'all. We are doing about 2 lessons a week, which is actually working fairly well for us, because we have a lot of other stuff going on, frankly. But I will say, when we started back from break, my youngest was not doing well with Spanish. My oldest, I think she has a knack for languages. She was doing great with it. We were doing our workbooks with it. Even my youngest is doing her workbook now. Initially, it was really rough with my youngest. So per a suggestion from Ashley over at Crazy Brave Homeschool, I went and checked out PBS Salsa Spanish videos. I'll link them down below. They're free videos online. And I was like, oh my gosh, these are perfect. It's all puppets, it's all in Spanish, and it's very interesting and entertaining. A lot of words that we already know, some that we don't, but you can learn through the context of watching the video. So it's like we do the Goldilocks, they know the story of Goldilocks, so they can like, oh, so, you know, uno, dos, tres, like supa, you know, and like muy frio, I don't know, it's like talking about like, it's too hot, it's too cold, all that stuff. I'm obviously not great at speaking Spanish fluently yet either, so I'm working on that. But what I'm doing now is, what we implemented was, we do 2 lessons from homeschool languages during the week. And then on Friday mornings, while they're having their breakfast, I pull out my iPad and they watch 1 episode from the PBS Salsa Spanish. They love it. They look forward to it so much. And I will say, I don't know what happened, but watching that kicked my littlest back into gear with Spanish. And now this is going well again. So I think it was just also the break. I mean, we took a break from Spanish for a while. So I think that probably was the tough part. Also, she is really, because her reading in general has taken off, she is really getting into doing the worksheets now, and she's doing so well with those. So this is going great. I'm not in any rush to rush through it. I want to make sure that we understand it. I'm not looking for mastery, but I don't want to just rush through the next lesson because we're trying to complete it within a year. I'm not worried about that. When we're done with this, level 2 is waiting for us, so we can go ahead and get that at any time. It'll most likely be next year, but it won't be before probably moving into next year. But we are really loving Homeschool Languages Spanish, especially with the addition of PBS Salsa Spanish videos. Those are great for Fridays. Fun Friday. Okay, last but not least, let's talk about science, and then we are done with this video. Let's see if we can get this done in 45 minutes. Can we? I don't know. Okay, so we have just finished our human body unit that I decided to do together with the girls after Christmas. I combined them for elemental science biology for grammar years. We were just doing the human body unit. I did 2 lessons a week. We didn't follow exactly how elemental science said to do it. We brought in some of our own human body unit books. I also found some of my own videos, but I did kind of use it as a, this is the topic we should talk about for this lesson kind of thing. And when we were finishing up with that, our plan was then to move into little hands and little hearts and hands, sparks and stars unit with both of my girls. Cause my oldest is, yes, she's in 3rd grade, but she is also a very young 3rd grader. If she was born a month later, she would have been in 2nd grade this year. So then she would have totally been in the age range for this. So I'm not worried about the fact that she's a little bit older to be in this, but my oldest did raise the concern a few weeks ago about the fact that this might be a little redundant, considering we did a whole year of space science last year with Blossom and Root Level 0. And she said, Mom, I know all of it isn't about space, but like almost half of the lessons in here do relate to space. It's probably like, I don't know, probably about 10 of the, maybe 30 to 50% of the lessons are space science. And so she said, Mommy, that I know so much about space. I don't need to learn anymore. My youngest was like, no, I want to learn about space. And so the problem is my youngest was in kindergarten when we did the science, space science last year. So she doesn't remember a lot of it. But I also recognize if I want to keep my girls together for science for the rest of the school year, which they also requested, I would have to switch things up. And so both of them agreed to switching out Sparks and Stars for Wind and Waves, which is all about weather. It's all about marine biology and little animals in the sea and all that goodness. So I was like, okay, let's do that. Perfect. And so we were going to start this past week, the last week of January, but we decided to squeeze in one little thing before we start this. We started a new unit for the love of homeschooling, and we are doing per the girls. They picked this out, by the way. I said, here are the units that I'd be good with us doing for the love of homeschool. Which one do you want to do? They both were all about the boreal forest, which is a biome, the taiga biome. It's the largest biome in the entire world. It's basically up near, but not like the Arctic Circle where it's permafrost all the time. It's basically, think if you've ever watched the Twilight videos, you know, Forks, where it's, you know, it's cold, there's lots of trees, conifer trees. That's the biome. So it runs a majority of Canada, the northern part of Europe, and Siberia and Russia. So it is the largest biome in the entire world. But they liked this one because it had a lot on animals. It had a lot, this probably isn't sharing a lot with you, but it had a lot on animals. It had a lot on the trees, the nature in that area. But what I liked most about For the Love of Homeschooling so For the Love of Homeschooling, I've had my eye on since the first year I started homeschooling. I had downloaded a lot of their freebie units and things like that, but I'd never purchased a unit from them. But again, my friend Nicole from the Mindful Homeschooler, she has used some of their units, and I was talking to her about it, and she said that would be a great units, like the units from For the Love of Homeschooling would be really great to do as a family unit because they have different level notebooks and activities and things that you can do. So you can be studying the same topic, but at the level that your child is at. So Charlie, my youngest, is at a junior explorer level, and then Emery is at the senior explorer level. But the thing is that when you get the unit, you get all the notebooks, like they send you everything. So what I did was I kind of spliced some of these together. So their notebooks, although the cover reads junior and in senior, have both junior and senior things in them, depending on the activity and what I thought they were capable of doing. So I like customized their notebooks for them, if that makes sense. So we had, let me see if I can show you some of the stuff in here. So there's we're gonna dissect a caribou using paper, but I mean, it's actually kind of neat, the ideas. So there's some of the bits that we're gonna dissect. Charlie's gonna get to make a little book about the animals in the boreal forest, doing a little comic book. There's a maze back here, but this is gonna be perfect for my first grader, yeah. And then for my oldest, she's doing some of those, but not all of those activities. It's more about plant classification. She's gonna do a Mad Lib. She's gonna do the dissection of the caribou as well, which is like a little fun project. Learning about the common loon. There's so much in here. So we did our first lesson, and I'll do a whole review on this program like when I'm done with it for you guys, if you want to see that, if you're not familiar with For the Love of Homeschooling. But we did the first lesson this past week, and we did it in the afternoon, and the first like couple minutes of getting the lesson together for me, like trying to show it with them and everything, was a little clunky, but it's because I had not used a unit of theirs yet and I was getting used to the flow. And then with like a few minutes into it, I finally figured it out and I got how I was going to use it and everything. And we loved it. They love their activity. I love that you can pick and choose from it what you want to do. You can do all of it or none of it. They have art in there. They have STEM. They have, they don't really, I think, have videos, because the video, I found a video that I had them watch when we were done with the lesson. I mean, we looked up and when I was like, oh my gosh, we've been doing this for well over an hour. And the girls were like, oh really? Like we were just having that much fun following down the rabbit holes, doing the activities. Like we just had so much fun with it. So it's meant to be done over 4 weeks. It's meant, I think, to be 20 lessons long, but I think we can cut some of the lessons because I cut some of the activities. So my plan is not to do it in 4 weeks because I don't want to do it every day. I'll probably do it 2 to 3 times per week. So then we'll be done at least within 6 weeks for sure. And then once we're done with that, then we will bring in back wind and waves, because this is all about a cold biome, which is perfect right now because it's freezing. We're about to get snow here. This is all about, in my opinion, more spring, summer fun. So once we're done with that, we'll bring this in and it'll be more appropriate for the spring, which we'll probably start it in. And then we can take it into the summer for summer schooling if we need to, if we're not done with the lessons yet. So that is our plan for science moving forward. That's what we started this past week, and the first lesson was a hit, so hopefully it continues to be, and I'll do a review on that and a flip through after I finish the program. It won't be long, I promise. So if you guys have any questions about anything that went over in this video about January, curriculum, future plans, leave them down below in the comments. I'll be happy to answer those for you. If you did like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, y'all.